Hey everyone, today I am going to be unboxing a copy of the original Blue Box starter set from 4th edition. This set was released in 2008 when 4th edition came out. And I had originally, when I first got into D&D, I had originally bought the red box. And at the time that I got it, I thought that it was the actual original starter set for 4th edition. But it wasn't until a little while later that I realized that that was for the Essentials line. And there was this original blue box set for 4th edition. And I had done some research and was trying to find information about it to see if you could get PDFs or what was in it, and had no end of difficulty just even finding information about it. I could see stuff that said that it existed, but it was really hard to find anything that said anything about what was included. And there was no PDFs. There's a free PDF that you can get that's kind of a combination of the books that are in this set, but there wasn't a way to purchase the two books that are in here or anything else. So I finally, after doing a little bit of research, was able to find a copy on eBay and ordered that, took a chance, and they had some really good pictures of it to show that it was not in pristine condition. Obviously, it's been opened. But the tokens have not been popped out. The tiles that are in here have not been popped out. So I wanted to kind of go through it here and look at it together. And so let's dive right in. So yeah, the box is been sitting around and been squished a little bit and stuff, but you can see on the back that it comes with a Dungeon Master's book, some quick start rules, some very colorful dice, dungeon tiles, and then some monster tokens as well. And so let's go ahead and dig in. And there's the dice. And here we go. So there's the extremely colorful dice. I'm presuming that it's just to help make it easier to distinguish them. They're not the highest quality dice. They're very the font and the quality of them looks not so great. So, but if you're just getting started in the game, they're acceptable. So I'll just set those aside. And then we have the Dungeon Master's book, which has the DM rules, the adventures, and monsters. So let's kind of flip through this a little bit and see what we get here. I have the PDF of the quick start rules that they put out, which I'll have to do a comparison to see how different it is, and maybe I'll do that comparison, just kind of put some notes down in the comments about it. But it's because it's this set comes with two books. There's another book here, and I don't believe the quick start rules that you can get a PDF of are just these. I think there's some other stuff in them as well, but I'll check. I'll do a comparison and see. But yeah, so this kind of goes through some basic. I can recognize some of these things from the Dungeon Master's Guide. It's definitely a different approach than the starter set, the Essential starter set that I have. Definitely has a different look to it. And it has like a list of what the core rules are and everything that come out. Beneath the Village of Harken. So this is the adventure then that we're getting into. I like that the monster statistics here, it actually has, it doesn't just describe each section, it actually breaks it down and takes a power block and breaks it down into the different sections and shows it. That's really nice. So I like that. And then the Village of Harken, an adventure. The Nintervale, I definitely wish there was more stuff in the Nintervale. I think it's a nice little campaign setting. And then we get some dungeon tiles. So this is a really nice. I mean, the other starter set came with a poster map, one or two. I can't remember if it came with two. And then like things like the Dungeon Master's Kit and stuff, those came with a couple poster maps. But the dungeon tiles are nice because you can use them then for any of the encounters, because you just arrange them to whatever you need. So I kind of like that it comes with the dungeon tiles instead of a poster map. Though I do like the poster maps too, but so, and then you just kind of get the, sorry, I'm going to go back a little bit, was Not sure how much story there was here. This is really just kind of describes the Harken village, and then the adventurers, and just kind of really about the adventurers, and then you get right into an encounter here. So it looks like you're just going into a dungeon. Not a lot of setup. Little bit of role playing maybe right here to get you set up into the dungeon, and then you just start right here. And you've got some goblin warriors and a couple goblin black blades on there. And this looks like your basic dungeon crawl. You're just gonna move down these corridors and break into the different rooms and fight the creatures. I like these. I really do like the 4th edition, the way they did the encounters, where everything's right there. 5th edition, it's very probably more story driven, and you get to the campaigns and you kind of go through it, and then it's describing the locations, and then you get information about it. But you don't really get the stat blocks right there. It just tells you what the monsters are. I really like this layout where you have everything's there for, if you're a DM and you're running this, and it's like, okay, we're going to do this dungeon crawl. When you get to the next room, you're just flipping the page. And of course, now I flipped the page and there's not another one here. So that would have been nice if it was, but oh well. But I do like that layout. Then we got creating adventures, where the different types of monster rolls. It's another thing I missed from 4th edition. And I know that this was something that people complained about a lot, was the roles and how the characters fit these different roles, and it didn't make them as special as they were. But I think it was really helpful to have the different types of creatures where they serve different purposes, and it kind of helped how to role play them and how to set them up during an encounter. So that's something I wish they had kept. I think you could, whatever issues you might have had with 4th edition, those are the types of things that I think you could have kept, and it would have worked out well. And then how to build an encounter, and with your XP budget and all of that. Some terrain. Oh, well, that's a good one for about, with creating some maps, telling you how to make your locations more interesting with difficult terrain, making them not just squares, and giving characters room to move. That's something I really hate with a lot of the maps that I see, where they make these rooms where it's like this little 5 foot by 5 foot, or rather 10 foot by 10 foot room, where if you're supposed to have a party of 4 to 6 people and there's a monster in that room, then how are you supposed to actually have an encounter in there? And I don't understand it. So, like, for example, hang on a second. I'm going to pull up the Lost Mine of Phandelver here, because this is one of my issues I have with Lost Mine of Phandelver, is that if you go and I think it's the Red Brand hideout. Sorry, it's farther in. Not the Red Brands, that's from Princes of the Apocalypse. So sorry, I'm on the wrong adventure, but this is the one here, the Cragmaw Castle. You have all these locations, and it's a great looking map, but look at like this room. There's not room in there to do anything. And so there's supposed to be stuff in there, but you can't even fit the whole party in here. And like room number 4 is this one, where there's 3 goblins that are supposed to be sleeping in here. And, when you start putting tokens on a map, there's not enough room to work with there. So I hate how they really cram in all this stuff. And so it's interesting to me that right here in this 4th edition guide, it talks about how you need to make sure your encounter locations have enough room for the characters to move around. Because what's the point of just putting everybody and just jamming them in elbow to elbow inside this room and then trying to run some kind of combat encounter? So a whole thing about terrain, and then some things to put, looks like some, about pillars and curtains and things. Skill challenges. Everybody loves skill challenges, right? They're okay. They can work okay. I don't think they describe them very well, but I think they can work just fine. Traps and hazards. Even got some samples in here. This is a pretty good book. This is a really good Dungeon Master's Guide. How to create a dungeon with some random encounters. Oh, so, you know, using the tiles. Nice. I love the 4th edition artwork. And then we've got our monsters organized by level. And then basically a monster manual, it looks like here. That's a really nice starter Dungeon Master guide. This is, to me, definitely on par with 5th edition and what you got for the starter set. I mean, I'm going to do a little comparison here in a second. I haven't even gotten to the other stuff inside the blue box, but so here's all the monsters. Wow, that's a lot of monsters. They didn't skimp on the monsters that they put in this book. Gave you a blank page there. D&D Insider. I missed that. I used to have a subscription to that. It wasn't really being maintained at the time, but it was nice. So and then there's the back of that. So I'll set that aside. I'm curious if I sorry, my camera seems to be wanting to get a little flickery on me. I want to take a look at the 5th edition one and just kind of do a quick comparison. Most of this is this is really the adventure, but it does have a monster manual in the back. I'm just curious. So there's the monster descriptions. I don't think there's nearly as many monster descriptions in this as there was. No, there's only a few pages of it. I'm not disparaging it. I think Lost Mine of Phandelver is one of the best adventures that they've made for 5th edition. So I won't say anything really bad about it. And then here's the Essentials book. You know, basically the equivalent book goes through and covers, you know, running. So it definitely has a different look to it and telling you how to run the game. And so that's the Essentials from the Essentials starter set, the red box. But and then we have the 4th edition Quick Start rules. So this is the Quick Start rules for the game and some ready to play characters. Okay. So here we get kind of the basics of the different types of actions, opportunity attacks, and then it goes into descriptions about the actions. This is a pretty small book. This book's only 16 pages long. Really thin. Oh, and most of this looks like it's character sheets. So now here's some pre-generated characters. So you get a dwarf fighter, a halfling rogue, a ladrin wizard. I know one of the complaints I had seen about Magic Missile was that Magic Missile didn't automatically hit. You actually had to roll an attack for it. Whatever, it's fine. Human cleric, Dragonborn paladin. You get quite a few characters, and that's still part of the paladin there. So it takes up, it looks like 3 levels worth of information for each of these pre-generated characters. So really, basically, this is just the most basic rules about how to play different things, and then it's really just a collection of the pre-generated characters. So the bulk of the real material is over here in the Dungeon Master's book, which I think is a great book. I mean, the pre-gens are good when you're just getting started because, you know, you're trying to generate a character, and it's always good when you're making that character to be able to compare it against a pre-generated one to kind of get a feel for whether you got it right. And then we get into some tokens. Looks like they're upside down. So, and yeah, so these are, looks like, I'm presuming these are the ones that go with the adventure because we got some skeletons. I see some goblins, maybe some hobgoblins. I see kobolds, a zombie, and obviously a couple dragons. There, are they different on the other side, or is it just the same? No, it's different ones. So, yeah, so on this side we have scorpions, some wolves, and I can't quite decipher what some of these are. Looks like a sturge is what some of that is. So that's those. So just looks like one sheet of those, and then we get into the dungeon tiles. And there's both sides. You got some piles of debris, and then like what looks like a pit trap, a portcullis, and then just some regular doors, a bearskin rug, some statues. And this one looks like it's pretty plain with some bones. Couple, I don't know if those are supposed to be alcoves or just shadows from something. Oh, I didn't realize this. So this is like a little house or stable. That looks like a stables, maybe. It's on the other side of that one. More dungeon stuff then. A glyph or a symbol on the floor there. So nice. Okay. And there we go. So that's that is the blue box starter set, the original starter set that was released for 4th edition. Came out in 2008, and I know I am very glad to have gotten my hands on it, because I'd been looking for it for a while, and it was one of those elusive things for me where it just I worried that it was the type of thing that, because it was the original one and 4th edition was not going as well as they had hoped, they didn't like do a lot of reprints of it, and so some of the stuff is really hard to find. So I was really glad to be able to find one on eBay, and it wasn't terribly expensive, and it was untarnished other than being opened, but it wasn't messed with. I mean, these books are in excellent condition, so I'm super happy about that. So there you go. 4th edition role-playing game starter set, blue box, now in my possession. I'm very pleased with it. So that all worked out very well. I might try to do a little more in-depth look at that adventure and see what's in it, and possibly do a little quick run through of it in a future video. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts. I'm curious. What do you think? Who has it? Does anyone already have this? And what were your thoughts of it when it was released? If you got it when it was released, and yeah, just let me know. And please do, if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out my newsletter if you're interested in that too. Until next time, take care.